You know what makes walking away so damn hard? It's not just the love. It's not even the memories you shared. It's the story you built in your head, the dream of what it all could have been. You didn't just fall in love with a person. You fell in love with the potential of them, the version of the relationship you imagined, not the one that actually existed. You saw their flaws, but you excused them. You noticed the red flags, but you convinced yourself they were temporary. You told yourself they were just going through a rough time, that they'd change, grow, eventually become who you needed. That's the trap, isn't it? You weren't really in love with them. You were in love with the idea of them. The version that lived only in your imagination. And that version, that fantasy was perfect. They said the right things. They showed up when you needed them. They loved you the way you always deserved to be loved. But the truth, that version never truly existed. It's why you're stuck. Not because they're gone, but because letting go means letting go of the dream. It's grieving something that never really happened. That's the real heartbreak. It's realizing you spent months or maybe even years trying to turn a mirage into something solid. And the hardest part? Deep down, some part of you always knew. You knew it wasn't right. You knew they weren't meeting you at your level. But you kept hoping, kept believing, because the fantasy felt better than the truth. But now, that fantasy is costing you your reality. And the only way forward is to stop holding on to what could have been and start accepting what was. Not weakness. Right? That's clarity. That's where healing begins. Let's talk about closure, the kind you keep waiting for but never actually comes. You sit there replaying everything in your head, thinking that maybe if you could just have one more conversation, it would all make sense? You think maybe if they explained why they pulled away, why they changed, why they hurt you, it would somehow hurt less? But here's the truth most people don't want to face. Some people will walk away without ever giving you the decency of an explanation. They'll leave you confused, questioning yourself, trying to make sense of something that wasn't meant to make sense. And if you keep waiting for them to come back and give you peace, you'll wait forever. You don't need their words. Their actions already told you everything. They told you through their silence, their inconsistency, their lack of effort. They told you when they stopped trying, when they stopped choosing you, when they made you feel like you were too much for wanting. The bare minimum. That is your closure. That silence you hear, that's the truth echoing louder than any excuse they could ever give. Because closure isn't about what they say to you, it's about what you finally decide to say to yourself. You don't need their apology to heal. You need your own decision that it's over, that you've had enough. You keep asking why they didn't love you the way you loved them. But maybe the real question is, why are you still waiting for love from someone who never gave it to you freely? The longer you hold on to the hope of getting something more, the longer you keep yourself in pain. Let them go. Not because they said it's over, but because you finally did. That's real closure. You ever catch yourself replaying the past? Like a movie stuck on loop. Scenes flashing through your mind, your laughter together, the fights, the long talks, the silence that followed. You sit there thinking, if I had just said this instead, or maybe if I had reacted differently, things would have turned out better. You start rewriting history in your head, trying to find the moment where it all went wrong, hoping that by understanding it, you can somehow undo the pain. But here's the truth you need to face. The past didn't fall apart because of one thing you did or didn't do. It collapsed because deep down, it wasn't right. You were giving your all to something that wasn't aligned, holding on to a connection that was already fading, trying to fix something that was never whole to begin with. And the more you keep rewinding, the more you lose yourself in a story that already ended. You're not living in the present here, living in the memory of what never truly was. You're stuck in a place where you keep blaming yourself for a collapse that required two people, not one. Keep rewriting scenes trying to get to a different ending, but the movie's over. You gave it your best. You tried. You stayed when. It was easier to walk, and that's enough. What's not enough is staying stuck in that place in your mind, editing every detail like you could still change the outcome. You can't, and you don't need to. The past is carved. What matters now is the story you tell yourself going forward. You don't need to go back and fix it. You need to move forward and free yourself. The past is heavy. Set it down. Your peace is waiting. Love isn't supposed to feel like a test you keep failing. It's not supposed to feel like you're constantly auditioning, proving, earning your place in someone's life. Somewhere along the line, you started believing that if you just did more, loved harder, stayed longer, tolerated more, penance would finally be enough. But that's not love. That's survival. That's trying to earn something that should have been freely given. Real love doesn't make you feel like you're on trial, waiting to be chosen. It doesn't leave you wondering if your next mistake will be the one that pushes them away for good. It doesn't drain you, silence you, or make you question your worth every time you speak your truth. If you felt like love was something you had to work for every day just to be seen or heard, then you weren't in love, you were in a cycle of performance. And that kind of love, it steals from you. It chips away at your self-respect. It turns your heart into a battlefield where peace is never guaranteed. You begin to lose yourself in the name of keeping someone else. You shrink, you bend, you carry the emotional weight they never bothered to lift. But here's the thing. Love isn't a reward for how much pain you can take. It's not something you win by staying quiet or always being the bigger person. Love is freedom. It's ease. It's showing up as you are and being received without conditions. If you're always fighting to be enough, maybe the problem isn't you. Maybe it's that you've been giving everything to someone who never deserved to hold your heart. Real strength isn't in holding on. It's in letting go when love starts to feel like self-abandonment. That's when you take your power back. Peace doesn't come crashing in. Like a storm, it arrives quietly. It's almost unnoticeably. And that's why it feels so strange at first. You've been used to noise, to chaos, to constant uncertainty. You got used to emotional turbulence masquerading as passion. So when you finally walk away, when the dust settles and the silence sets in, your mind panics. It searches for the noise it once called normal. But don't mistake that stillness for emptiness. That silence you're sitting in. That's healing. That's your nervous system finally getting a break from the emotional roller coaster you called a relationship. And sure, it feels weird, maybe even a little lonely. But that's just your heart adjusting to peace after living in war for too long. At first, you'll want to fill the quiet. You'll want to reach out, check their profile, send that just one last message. You'll be tempted to chase the noise again just to feel something. But remember this, every time you chased them, you lost a piece of yourself. Every time you broke your own boundaries to keep the peace, you taught yourself that your needs didn't matter, but they do. You matter. In this silence, it's your chance to finally hear your own voice again. This is the part where you rebuild not with someone else, but with yourself. The part where you stop settling for survival and start creating a life that feels like calm, not confusion. You're not losing anything. You're gaining clarity. You're remembering who you are without their chaos. You're learning that peace isn't loud. It's steady. It's grounding. And once you get used to it, you'll protect it with everything you've got. Because once you've felt peace, you'll never go back to begging for love in the noise again.